A very soothing good afternoon to all the teachers, parents, and students. Also, I extend my warm greetings to the subject experts who will make this today's session very productive and significant. Dear audience, this is needless to say that this pandemic has shattered us all mentally and physically, but as it is well said that the show must go on, same is with the field of education, as we cannot compromise with the education of our children who are the future of our nation. So, Scottish International School has brought a very productive session on how to improve our English that is very crucial in today's world with some expert teachers that are associated with us today and will definitely deliver what you aspire for. So first of all, I would like to call upon our expert teacher, Mr. Prem Sangal, who is serving at Scottish International School as academic coordinator and PGT English to produce his views. Mr. Prem.
Thank you, Tanvir sir. Thanks a lot. A very warm good afternoon to all the panelists and the viewers watching us live. This is Prem Sangal, English PGT and academic coordinator from Scottish International School. I've been serving in this field of education for more than 10 years. And today, we all are going to discuss on a very important topic, that is importance of English language in today's world. And I am here to share my views with you all about its importance. Before I move on, I would like to ask you all a question that even though it's quite obvious in today's world that we all know its importance, how much important this language is. And we also know that everybody should learn it. But often we have found that still many of us fail to learn it. Either we leave it in between or we do not learn it yet or at all. Should we know that what is the reason behind that? I think the reason behind that is we don't know. We know that it is good language and it is important, but we don't know how much it can be good to us. We don't know how it can transform us. We don't know how much it can be beneficial to us in our field. That is why we lose our connection with it. And once we lose our connection, we lose our interest, and ultimately we find it difficult and then we stop it. So my sincere request to you all is that today we must find out the answer to this question, that why should we learn English for us? Why should I learn this for myself? How it can help me? I know still you may be finding difficulty or you may have not yet found its answer. You may take it, try to understand it through an example as well. Often we have seen the students, when we ask them what is the importance of education, how much important it is to them, they don't know the answer. And it's not the matter only with the tiny tots or the children of 4, 5, 6 class standard. Even the students who are pursuing in class 12th, who are pursuing graduation or higher secondary classes or senior secondary classes or any professional course, even they don't understand, they don't know. And that is why education has always been considered by many of us as burden only. We do not know its essentiality. In the same manner, it is with English language. But today, I hope and believe, once this webinar gets over, at least we will be able to know that how can we find out our answer, that why we should do it. And other panelists will also help you how you can learn it in a more productive manner. So in my further discussion, I'm going to tell you in what manner it can be helpful in various fields so that you may find your answer, how it is useful to you. So I'm going to tell you about its importance in a personal and professional life. First of all, my first point is that this language is considered as universal language. English is considered as universal language. Why it is considered universal means it is widely accepted language, because majority of the countries in the world, they have adopted this language as an official language. Second point is that around 2 billion people, that is 200 crore people, they use this language on a regular basis. Suppose you are away from your hometown and you have to discuss yourself, you have to express yourself with other people where your language is not used and you don't know their language. How are you going to converse? I think at that time the best remedy is English only. Okay. Now, next point is in the field of education. Nowadays you can see that this 21st century is the century of science and technology, and English is the language of science and technology. It's quite obvious, we know how much important both of these tools are in current scenario, and if we have to become expert in them, we have to make them handy, useful tool to us. We must know the importance of this language. And even to pursue higher education, any skilled profession, if you want to become a doctor or a lawyer, anything that is important for your life, if you want to achieve something big, there is no alternative. Why? Because most of the books are written and published in English language only. And nowadays, considering its importance, the schools, very good affiliated schools, well-mannered schools, they have also understood and realized its importance. And since starting, they try to inculcate the habit of English speaking, the culture of English among the students by they have adopted the teaching methodology. They pass on most of the instructions in this language, and they organize various activities so that it can become the part of their personality. Next is in your profession, how it can be helpful. Whether you are a businessman or any skilled person or a self-employed person, you are some skilled person who are working as a doctor or you are in this kind of profession, or you are an employee, whatever you are, I think that English language is the indispensable, is unavoidable, is the most essential, one of the most essential skills of 21st century professional, whatever you are, because everyone wants to achieve more in his or her field, and this language gives us global exposure. If we want to go out of our country, if we want to go and meet people away from our country in some foreign places, definitely English can be the very important helping tool to discuss and exchange our ideas. Nowadays, I can say that it has become a dominant language of business. It has made cross-border communication quite easy and comfortable and convenient to us. My next point says, you know very well, all have been suffering from the same issue, that is COVID-19 pandemic. And due to this, we have also been confined to our houses. At that time, what had been the only means of survival for the professionals, even for the students or any other person, I think that was internet. Internet, where majority of the websites are created and written in English language. That internet where 55% of the data is available in English language only. So if we want to use internet more comfortably, and if we have to survive in this COVID-19 pandemic when we know that it is going to go a bit far, then it is quite unavoidable that we do not use internet. And when we have to use internet, then we must have the expertise in this language. Otherwise, we find it much difficult to survive. My next point says that if I say that it's a confidence booster, there is no exaggeration. The reason is that You must have seen, even though people who are well mannered or who are well famous, even though they also feel if they are not comfortable in this language, they also feel there is something that lacks in their personality. What is that due to which they feel a bit low? I'm not saying that they are not confident, but definitely they feel themselves lagging behind other people who can speak better than them. And if in a profession, suppose somebody, if there is in a job, there are two people. In that condition, both of them are at the same position. If one speaks or one can express, one whose communication skills are better than the other person, definitely he is going to get a chance. He has more probability to get his chance because people will have more confidence in him. And so we can say that it leads to a better career, and it also leads to higher income. It also opens doors not only to some people or to some inhabitants of a particular country. Even it says that it opens up the doors of communication with the whole world. We can talk to the whole world. That is why when we have something where we can confidently talk and express or exchange our ideas without having any hesitation with any person, definitely it can be said that it's a motivation booster, it's confidence booster. That is why it has become part and parcel today. Part and parcel, the most important one today. Ultimately, you must have, if I have to conclude myself, I would like to conclude with a very famous thought. You must have heard about it, that hard work is the key to success. But on the other hand, you must have heard this famous quote also, which pervades nowadays, that is, smart work is also key to success. I believe I am with those people who believe that hard work cannot be avoided. But there are people who do a lot of hard work, but they just keep on working hard, but they do not get the desired position. So hard work, along with hard work, smart work is also required. What is the smart work? I think there is not hyperbole if I say that English can be called, along with that hard work, as their smart work. So if hard work is the key to success, it takes us to higher level if we work smartly, and that makes it possible through English. That can be made possible through English. So it can also be said that English is also the key to success. I think whatever I discussed with you, I reach you, and through my words, whatever the points I was able to share, people will be able to understand and try to know their answer. And for further discussion, like how one can become expert in it, I would like to invite the other candidates, other people, other experts who can share their views regarding that. From my side, I sign off. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Sir Prem. Your words are really meaningful to all of us, and students would have really gained a lot. So, in the continuation of our lectures today, I would like to call upon Mr. Abhinav Tyagi. But before he goes further, I wish to introduce him before you all. Mr. Abhinav Tyagi is a graduate from Hindu College and again a graduate from Jindal Global Law School. He's an expert debater. I must say he's a national debater and has won several prizes yet in the same skill. He's a published researcher and his works are published in leading academic journals like Economics and Political Weekly. And yes, very soon he is going to launch his podcast that is entitled as Red Slip. Congratulations, sir, for your upcoming launch. And here I would like to present you, here I would like to hand over you the screen. Please share your words with us.
Thank you, Mr. Tanveer, for a very generous introduction. Before I begin with whatever I have to speak, I would like to let you know that if you have any questions for me, I will be looking at your comments. So if you feel like I'm going too fast, or if you have a particular question in mind, please do leave a comment. I will answer it whenever I find room to breathe. Okay. I'm but going to address 3 points today. 3 points that I hope you take away from this session. First of all, I'm going to talk about this idea of growth when learning a language or becoming better at a language. How must you see growth? How do you check if you've grown? And whether or not staying realistic is important to your achievements in the long run, right? Secondly, I'm going to talk about the interplay between the various skills that we're going to discuss today, whether it be listening, whether it be speaking, or whether it be writing or reading for that matter. Thirdly, I'm going to talk about why, in order to learn anything, not only English, the emphasis that one must place is not on the ultimate goal of becoming a better English speaker, but inculcating a process, a habit that can over time make you better and better. Because the fact of the matter is that there won't be a point in the future when you will know everything to know about English. We're constantly learning, even native speakers are constantly learning, and it's a process that will stay with you your entire life. So there won't ever come a point where you become an expert in English and you will know everything to know about the English language. You will get into more and more complex literature. You will be able to comprehend works that you weren't able to do earlier. You will be reading stuff that you couldn't read earlier, and you will be engaging in a more sophisticated manner. You will articulate exactly what you're thinking without having to feel like you're carrying out this process of translation in your head, where you say something in your native language and then you translate it in your head and then you regurgitate it. That process needs to be cut down so that your thoughts that you have in your mind can instantly become things that you write, things that you speak, that you can articulate freely, right? So the first thing, coming to the first thing, this idea of growth. Now, a lot of people think that when they decide on getting better at a particular skill, like for our purposes, learning a language, they can do a couple of things today and then instantly be a better English speaker or be better at English the next day. However, that does not happen. So when people tell you learning 5 words daily or writing a journal will make you a better English speaker, of course it will. But you have to understand that it's a process that is oriented not for the short term, but for the long term. Because 5 words that you learn today will disappear from your memory tomorrow. Unless you keep practicing, you go back to those words that you learned on a monthly basis, on a weekly basis, on even an annual basis, your progress will be muddled, because you won't be able to see a long-term objective in the way that truly facilitates language learning. So if you want to become better at the language, then you must see your own growth as a long-term process, not as something that you will achieve within the week, not as something that you will achieve after doing a particular exercise. You have to make significant changes to your lifestyle, how you operate, stuff that we're going to talk about later, right? Then secondly, I want to emphasize how when learning these various skills about a particular language, you must recognize the interplay between all of these various domains that you can get better at. You will barely ever meet someone who is an excellent writer but is not also an excellent reader. You will barely ever meet anyone who is an excellent speaker but has no idea about fundamental rules of grammar. And I don't mean to suggest that in order to become a good speaker, you need to formally know all the rules of grammar, but you need to have an intuitive understanding of grammar. What do I mean by an intuitive understanding of grammar? Think about this. Wherever you grew up, whatever is your mother tongue, you didn't actually have to go to the school to learn it. You just happened to pick it up. Even if you never learned the formal rules of Hindi grammar, say in school, you would still be able to perform the language grammatically without ever having to learn the rules formally. That happens because humans have an innate ability to pick up language, to grasp these rules and to internalize them, so that you don't have to constantly keep thinking about, say, syntax or subject verb agreement in order to frame perfectly coherent sentences. That will become normal to you. And in order for that to become normal to you, you need to replicate the conditions that make it possible for native speakers in the first place to get hold of a language. So think about how you learned your own mother tongue. You were constantly surrounded by this flow of resource, things that your parents were saying to you, things that you heard from your friends. When you wanted to communicate something, when you were consuming media, when you were watching a movie or listening to music, all of these various things were coming at you from various sources, and you were actively interacting with them. It's not like your parents were only saying things to you when you needed water, when you needed a particular thing. You would articulate that desire to your parents, to whoever you were trying to communicate with. And that interplay over time trains you to be a better speaker. Now, when it comes to English, for a lot of us, English is not our mother tongue. It's not the language we speak at home. So to replicate the same conditions that native speakers find themselves in, you must do a conscious process of changing your surroundings in order to get that constant flow of information delivered to you. How can you do that? You can do that by changing very, very small things. So, for example, I would recommend that you have other people who also want to better themselves along the lines of, say, being better at English, and then make a pact that you will only speak with them in English or try to speak with them in English. Now, a lot of the times, those people won't be great at telling you the best way to speak English or the best way to communicate ideas, but think about babies. They don't know perfect grammar when they start out. They don't know everything about the language when they start out, but they will eventually learn that. And the idea, again, going back to the long-term notion, you have to think of your growth as an English speaker as a long-term, a goal-oriented, not a goal-oriented, but a process-oriented thing. So then again, you could watch English movies, let's say, or listen to English music, but again, not passively. I don't recommend that you just watch 20 English movies. You will not become a better English speaker. The idea is to engage actively, because that is what native speakers also do. And what do you mean by engaging actively? Engaging actively is, let's say you watched a movie and then you discussed that movie with a friend, right? What happens at that point is that whatever you watched from the movie, whatever you could comprehend, then you have to articulate back to someone else. Then when you're articulating that, a particular set of ideas, you will realize that something happened in the movie that I'm not being able to say in English, but you witnessed it happening in the movie. Therefore, there must be a way for you to express it. So you go back, you find the right words, you look at how other people have described it. So never just be a passive consumer. Become active to the process. Don't just read a book. Employ other skills. Like I said, there's a complex interplay of these various skills. Therefore, if you're reading something, try writing something about it. If you're reading something, try speaking to someone about it. If you heard a beautiful piece of music, a beautiful, say, Bob Dylan song that communicated some ideas to you that you found really entertaining or really valuable for whatever reason, you might want to then write down the lyrics and discuss that with a friend, or just write it down in a journal.
Excuse me, Mr.
Yeah.
Arinav, one question has been raised by a student.
Yeah.
What may be the hurdle for a child who is not having English language? What may be the hurdle of listening to you?
Right.
What are the hurdles of listening?
Who is this? I don't think I can hear you properly, but you can just copy the question and leave it in the private chat, so I'll read it out and then answer it. Until that happens, right, we were talking about training the process, not being goal-oriented. Now, in life, it is great to have goals, right? It is wonderful to set a goal for yourself and then go ahead and achieve it. But that becomes particularly different when your goal isn't properly defined. In this case, becoming a better English speaker is a shifting goalpost. Every time you get closer to becoming what you thought you wanted to be 6 months ago, you will realize that the goalpost is now farther away. It's the same as becoming good at anything. You become a decent musician at one point and then you just want to be better. So the goal here is really not a goal per se. It's not like winning a trophy. Nobody is going to give you a trophy if you become a better English speaker. But focusing on the process is important. And what does focusing on the process do? When you focus on the process, you don't get discouraged because you don't see people giving you a reward immediately after you learn 5 words. Because we as humans want to chase instant gratification, instant rewards for things that we put towards our growth and our progress. And that, unfortunately, can be a huge hurdle when learning a language, because nobody other than yourself knows how far you've come from where you started. Now, I'll just look at that question. If that question can be shared with me somehow, I will take it. Just paste it in the private chat. Maybe there's a comments and private chat over here. Right. Moving forward, specifically to listening. Now, I see a missed opportunity along the lines of not many people in India knowing about the concept of podcasts, right? And this is something that I want to introduce to everyone who is listening to us right now. A podcast is basically an audio recording that doesn't have any video content that you can put on and listen to whenever you're doing anything. Let's say you're going for a walk, or you're in your bed and you're relaxing, or there are various moments in your life where you have to wait, say for example on the bus going somewhere. Now that's not happening so much in the pandemic, but you will find situations where you have 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes where you have nothing to do. I suggest that you pick up the habit of listening to podcasts, because podcasts have the unique advantage of being an audio only source. And there are some absolutely great podcasts out there that will not only help you become a better English speaker, a more proficient at English, it will also teach you a bunch of things in general. Like I will give you some suggestions both for books and for podcasts and other resources on the internet that you can go to and make these changes in your habits, your consumption habits, to become a better speaker later. But for now, I will just read out this question. What are the hurdles in listening for a native Hindi speaker? A very good question. I think one of the fundamental hurdles when anyone starts to listen to more English-based content, especially if their native language is Hindi, is basically you go for content that is made in an accent, let's say, that doesn't come very easily to you. Let's say it's possible that you understand English that I or other Indians that speak English can easily comprehend, but not say BBC, just directly jumping into BBC. Because the fact of the matter is that when you approach English as a second language, the carryovers from your previous language, your main language, are going to be apparent. The way you pronounce words, the way you say whole sentences. Like, for example, Indians have a very sing-songy way of saying things. So we emphasize our third syllables or our fourth syllables. And we sort of go as a wave when we're talking and we're communicating. That you will not see so much of when you see other native English speakers articulating. So maybe it's better for you to temper the kind of content that you get into immediately. Do not think that by doing A, B, or C things, you will instantly get to the point where you will understand everything. In fact, As a lawyer, I had to approach a lot of very complicated texts that even I found really difficult. Although English for me is as close to a first language as anything can be, but I still found those texts very complicated to understand. And that is true even for native speakers. There are levels of difficulty when engaging with text. Therefore, it is upon you to find out at exactly what level you stand right now and then take very tiny steps from there. Don't go for the big kahuna, go for really, really small steps. Maybe you feel ashamed, right? Maybe you're an old person and you think, I can't read children's book right now because this is simply something that is shameful to me. Well, the thing, like I said earlier, is that your growth is personal to you. Nobody else is watching you, nobody else is judging you. In fact, if you stay stagnant, you will continue to remain at that level of proficiency for your entire life. However, your personal journey or your personal growth is private only to your own consequences. So think about it this way: only if you do the beginner, only if you put in the hours and do the beginner stuff can you move into more advanced stuff. So pick up a picture book that has one sentence ideas, not a very complicated thing. Do very listen to nursery rhymes. If you can't directly get into complicated sources of spoken English, then just listen to very simple ones. Understand that even native speakers start from somewhere really small, and you need to find those really small things and then work your way towards those bigger things. And let me tell you this one thing: even though I keep stressing that this is a long term process, your own growth will come much faster than you expect. So after reading, say, 10 storybooks, 10 children's book, you will find that you want to move on to something more complicated. You start liking the challenge, because as humans, even in things that we take up for our personal growth, we see this kind of reinforced system of dopamine release, where when you play a game, right, and you beat your own high score, you feel happy, you feel nice, because although you've beaten your own high score only, nobody else's high score, your own high score, but you feel nice because it's nice to see yourself grow. It's nice to see yourself becoming more proficient at something, becoming more intelligent. So take advantage of that, capture that system, and then use that for your advantage and become a better listener or a better speaker. Now, I will reserve my recommendations for when I am invited to speak again. Till then, I will pass on the mantle to the next speaker. Thank you. Please let me know if you have any specific questions for me. I will keep going through the chat.
Thank you very much, Mr. Vinod Tyagi. Your session was really interactive and very much meaningful to all the listeners. They must have learned a number of things. The key point of his speech was, please do not memorize the words. If you really want to improve yourself in this particular skill, better you start using them in your communication and write-ups. Otherwise, you will soon forget them if you start mugging up the words. So in the continuation of the series of lectures, I would now humbly invite our very talented teacher, Ms. Sayyidina Lubna. She would come here and deliver the lecture on speaking skills, how to improve them. She has done masters in English and she's BEd also, serving at Scottish International School. Now I hand over the mic to Ma'am Lubna.
Thank you so much for the introduction, Tanvi sir. I would just, if you ask me, I would introduce myself just as a
Sure.
reader, a learner, and maybe a lifelong dreamer. That is how I would like to introduce myself. So we are here, and we have gathered here to talk about the 21st century skills of English. And the previous speakers have told us some really beautiful points, and also very applicable in today's world as well. So I've been told to talk about the speaking part. I think speaking part cannot go individually in any way. So it's not possible to just highlight the speaking part without concentrating a little bit on all the other skills of listening, reading, and writing. if not specifically writing, then definitely reading will go hand in hand with this speaking skill, and eventually even further ahead of that. So yes, I agree with Mr. Abhinav that he said that it is they have to, and there is a lot of interplay between them. The reason we are here is to actually talk about the Indian scenario and the Indian context of what we can do uh, in the resources available to us, which are very scarce and sometimes even not very understandable, because the this interest of being able to speak English is just for us, the millennials, the just generation, and the next one, the generation Z. So there's those people are really interested into these talking of English and all this stuff. People before that in generation were not really interested in talking about English, and they realized it really after a long time that the importance of English is really too much to just ignore. And I think that is the problem for most of us in the youth. They would not realize the importance of speaking English until they would reach the college or go to the university level for studying, or just leave school for that matter. And then suddenly they will realize that they need to speak English because they need to appear for a certain interview, or they just want to just be a little better in their college and have a good set of friends. So, to talk about speaking skills in general, I've told this to my students as well. A lot of my students are in the primary session and they are here listening to us. So, I'll mostly concentrate on these sections because not much is being told about them. A lot of what our speaking skills are concentrated on the already fluent speakers, how you can enhance your vocabulary and you go for reading skills and all that. It's okay. Reading skills need to be started from early stages, and trust me when I say that it will begin from your home. I know I'm not trying to take it off from the shoulders of the teachers, but it will begin from your home. Language learning is an environment. Language is an environment. When we generally talk to students, like we talk, I ask them, like, why are you not able to speak English? They will say, कि मैम हमारे घर में माहौल नहीं है, हमारे हमारे आसपास माहौल नहीं है. There is no environment. That environment is माहौल of English language, which is what? Which is just the lack of listening. Lack of listening a language will ultimately make you not a fluent speaker. तब जब आप कोई language सुन नहीं रहे हैं enough, तो आप उसको enough बोल भी नहीं पाएंगे. Because just take a simple example of a baby. If you say just a simple example of a baby when it's born will not speak anything, but by the time it's like almost 2 or 3 months, it will start blabbering. That is called babble. It will start babbling, and that babble would be all sorts of sounds, which is the first thing or the minutest particle of what the entire languages are made of, the phonetics, or the even smallest of them, like the graphemes और साउंड्स के जो मतलब स्मॉलेस्ट पार्टिकल्स होते हैं, जो स्मॉलेस्ट उनका कंस्टिट्यूएंट्स होता है, जिनसे मिलके साउंड्स बनते हैं, साउंड से वर्ड्स बनते हैं, वर्ड्स से सेंटेंसेस बनते हैं, सेंटेंसेस से स्पीच बनती है. तो वो जो साउंड्स है वो बहुत ही छोटी एज में ही बच्चों को आते हैं, बिकॉज ऑल द चिल्ड्रन, अनलेस कि कोई और परेशानी है बच्चे को, बेबी विल स्टार्ट स्पीकिंग एंड मेकिंग साउंड्स एट अ वेरी अर्ली एज. Those sounds are coherent or directly influenced by the sounds that they are hearing their mother and father speak. They will start with baba, so small little things, and then they will slowly and steadily convert those sounds into words. They will make them complex words. They will say, they will start with, I will be a little Hindi here, कि वो छोटे छोटे words से start करेंगे, and then they will make into mama, pani, mama, dal, khana. They will make such words. We are talking about Hindi here. Similarly, if you are incorporating a little bit of English in your environment, the babies at a very small age will start learning the language. Now, it's not very easy in the context of the Indian culture and the social setting, because as I told you, our millennials or the baby boomers before that generation are not well versed with the language. So in that case, our students have no option कि वो खुद ही learn करें, और कब उनको ये ख्याल आता है जब तक वो स्कूल छोड़ चुके होते हैं, और मे बी मोस्टली 12th तक ही ध्यान आता है बच्चों को कि हमें इंग्लिश सीखनी है, बोलनी पड़ेगी. That is what is the truth is about it, कि अब हमें खुद ही सीखना पड़ेगा और हमें बोलनी पड़ेगी, और उसके लिए there are many things for that. The schools generally they make it compulsory for students to speak English. अगर आप स्कूल में आए तो you have to speak English, or otherwise you will be fined and all that. That is all. It is a, you can say it's a enforced techniques to make people speak English so that they have an environment. It has dual effects. आप चारों तरफ से surrounded होगे, आप English बोलोगे भी और आप सुनोगे भी. तो language is directly, it's listening. If you ask me, and trust me, I've been like in the fields of private education also, in terms of these classes, spoken English classes and all that. They are all just having the same kind of scope कि आपको सुनना होगा. And it was the IIS also. Now, as I told you, कि by the time people or children realize कि हमें English बोलनी है, तब तक they are already like in the high school or 10th, or maybe sometimes they even left the school and trying to go for college. That time they will have only one option to do. Like they will, what they'll do in the kind of to just learn it very fast and quickly, they will just go to all the booksellers and try to purchase those books which teach you grammar or teach you speaking in 10 days. 10 दिन में इंग्लिश बोलना सीखे या इंग्लिश बोलना सीखे 100 दिनों में अंदर. It's not going to work, and eventually it does not work. They will start enroll themselves in some spoken English class, and there they will also learn the same things and the same grammar techniques जो grammar सीखेंगे जो वो स्कूल में already सीख चुके हैं. So there are two types of learners when you talk about learning a language. Two types of learners. One are those intellectual learners, and one are the natural learners for language. Natural learners are just as the previous speaker जो मेरे से भी पहले थे, Mr. Abhinav, was told us कि जो naturally आपको बहुत सी चीजें, बहुत से बच्चे होते हैं जो naturally पिकअप कर लेते हैं लैंग्वेज को. ठीक है, उनको आपको ये बताने की जरूरत नहीं पड़ती है कि इस में जो है अगर एस की साउंड स है तो वो यू कैन से एप्पल्स में ज क्यों है. इफ आई एम ऑडिबल क्लियरली टू यू, तो अगर हम इस स की साउंड स है एस की, तो वो एप्पल्स में ज क्यों है. तो ये कुछ बच्चे अपने आप पकड़ लेते हैं सुनते सुनते, दे कैन ग्रेजुअली कैच इट. दोस काइंड ऑफ स्पीकर्स आर नेचुरल स्पीकर्स, उनको ज्यादा कुछ जरूरत नहीं होती है. Those who need your help are those people who are the intellectual kind, जो हमारे साइंटिस्ट होते हैं, जो इंजीनियर्स होते हैं, जिनको हर चीज के लिए रूल चाहिए, जो मतलब रूल्स पे बेस करते हैं अपनी लैंग्वेज लर्निंग को कि मुझे रूल दो, मैं उसमें अपने वर्ड्स को डालूंगा और फिर मैं उसको प्रेजेंट करूंगा. ऐसी चीजें जिनके रूल्स या तो कॉमनली नहीं पता है या फिर बहुत से एक्सेप्शंस हैं लैंग्वेज में. देयर आर ऑलवेज द एक्सेप्शंस टू ऑल द लैंग्वेजेस. इंग्लिश एज वेल इज वन ऑफ देम. एक्सेप्शंस इन द लैंग्वेजेस, जस्ट यू हैव टू लर्न इट. कहते हैं ना कि आपको बस लर्न कर लेना है. व्हेन यू गो डीपर इनटू द रैबिट होल, इट्स अ रैबिट होल. ट्रस्ट मी, इट्स अ रैबिट होल. व्हेनेवर, अभी भी मैं अगर पढ़ रही हूँ तो बहुत सी चीजें मुझे ऐसे पता चलती हैं. लास्ट नाइट आई वाज रीडिंग अ बुक एंड आई केम अक्रॉस अ लॉट ऑफ थिंग्स which I confuses me, still they confuse me, और मुझे समझ में नहीं आता कि ये कहाँ से आ रहा है अभी. मतलब there are so much to learn. It's a rabbit hole. If you go deeper into it, you will realize कि कुछ चीजें ऐसी हैं जो आप वक्त के साथ साथ जानते जाएंगे, कुछ चीजें ऐसी भी है जो जानना जरूरी नहीं है. I'm telling you very frankly, कोई चीजें ऐसी भी हैं जिनको जानना जरूरी ही नहीं है, बहुत सी चीजें ऐसी भी हैं. So for the students of our classes, उनके लिए ज्यादातर मेनली हम यही सजेस्ट करते हैं कि अपना रीडिंग और लिसनिंग स्किल्स पे फोकस करो टू एनहांस योर स्पीकिंग स्किल्स. हाउ विल यू डू दैट? सराउंड योरसेल्फ विद इंग्लिश लैंग्वेजेस. पॉडकास्ट एक बहुत ही अच्छा ऑप्शन है. यूट्यूब चैनल्स के बारे में हम सभी जानते हैं, ऑडियोज हम सुनते हैं, यूट्यूब पे भी बहुत सारे ऑडियोज है. पॉडकास्ट इज कंपैरेटिवली अ न्यूअर थिंग फॉर अस टू हियर स्टडी. और ऐसी चीजों के लिए पॉडकास्ट सिर्फ एक ऑडियो लेसन होता है. पॉडकास्ट आपको हेल्प करते हैं जब आप कोई ऐसा काम कर रहे हैं जो कि आप बहुत माइंड की जरूरत नहीं है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, यू आर कम्यूटिंग, आप कम्यूट कर रहे हैं, ट्रैवल कर रहे हैं, घर जा रहे हैं, घर से कहीं और आ रहे हैं. मे बी यू आर स्लीपिंग, यू आर रीडिंग, आप कोई बुक पढ़ रहे हैं, आप वहाँ रीड कर रहे हैं और वहाँ रीड करते करते आप कुछ सुन सकते हैं पॉडकास्ट, विच इज अगेन मेकिंग यू, हेल्पिंग यू इन द ड्यूअल फॉर्म्स ऑफ लर्निंग अ लैंग्वेज. नाउ व्हेन यू आर गोइंग, क्यों आप लोग नहीं सीख पाते हैं या क्यों कुछ बच्चे जल्दी नहीं सीख पा रहे हैं, इसकी वजह है. There are two kinds of knowledge. जब भी आप कोई चीज पढ़ते हैं तो वो इंफॉर्मेशन बन जाती है, आपके ब्रेन में स्टोर हो जाती है. Those informations are of two kinds, an explicit information and an implicit information. Knowledge. There are two kinds of learning, explicit and implicit. Explicit चीजें क्या होती हैं? Explicit चीजें वो होती हैं जिनको बोलने के लिए, जिनको यूज करने के लिए आपको एफर्ट्स लगाना पड़ता है. एफर्ट्स लगाना पड़ता है. जैसे आप सपोज किसी इंग्लिश से बात कर रहे हैं, इंग्लिश में किसी से बात करें, तो अगर आपने सिर्फ ग्रामर पढ़ा है तो आप क्या करेंगे कि आप अपने स्पीच को बार बार रिवाइंड करेंगे और ये सोचेंगे कि मैं सही बोल रहा हूँ या गलत बोल रहा हूँ, कि मैं कौन सा वर्ड यूज करूँ. तो वो फ्लुएंसी नहीं आती है जो कि होनी चाहिए इंटरेक्शन में. What is implicit language? Implicit language और implicit learning वो है जो आप native language के बारे में बात करते हैं, जिसके बारे में आपको सोचना नहीं, you don't need to listen, you need to put much efforts on it. You don't need to put an effort in it, and it's automatic. It's automatic, almost like you are, you can say you are driving a bike. जब आप बहुत सालों तक you are driving, you are playing a guitar. If you know musicians who play guitar are simultaneously able to sing as well. So you can see that they are well versed in it, and it has become an implicit knowledge in their minds, और वो implicitly use कर रहे हैं. It has become a part of their habit. To make a knowledge implicit in your mind, आपको ये करना है कि उसके grammatical part में ना जाकर, if you have already, you want to learn it quickly, trust me when I say this कि speaking ऐसी है जिसमें आप बहुत सी grammatical parts को ignore कर सकते हैं. Native speakers do not speak the entire sentence fully, clearly. They don't speak an entire sentence. They will eat up many of the words and make them, you can say, they do not stress on every kind of word. They would just stress on some of the words which require more of your emphasis. जिसमें आपको emphasis करना होता है, उन्हीं चीजों पर they will place more efforts. If you are having some questions, please put your questions here in the chat box. I would love to hear them and give the answers as well, especially about the primary learners of the language, primary learners or anybody else who won't have any questions about especially and specifically about the language of speaking. I'm glad to answer them. I'll be waiting, but till then, let us talk about other things that you can do it. So recording your own voice and your speech, which we are following a lot during these days online classes में हम बहुत follow कर रहे हैं. You need to record your own voice and play it for your future reference as well. अपने लिए भी reference के लिए आपको ज़रूरी है अपनी voice को record करके, or you have to play it again and again for your own work, so that you can see where you have improved and what fronts you are still lacking. और आप जिस भी किसी नेटिव स्पीकर को फॉलो करते हैं, जिसके जैसा भी बोलना चाहते हैं आप, यू कैन कंपेयर द टू स्पीचेस and you can work on these particular things. So these are the things that you can work on. Listening, you can use a podcast and YouTube videos. That is really important. Reading primarily is more, you can say, closely linked to speaking, because when you are when you are reading a skill, आप जब read कर रहे हो, actually आप क्या कर रहे हो, आप बोल ही रहे हो. Maybe you are not making sounds, पर आप बोल रहे हो. Human beings are evolved to speak. You will speak. It just depends कि आप कहाँ पर अपना focus लगा रहे हो. Reading is not a skill that you inherit. It is a skill that requires a lot of efforts. बहुत सी ज़्यादा efforts चाहिए होंगी इसके लिए. And I can see that how to improve our English pronunciation. See, you have to follow the native speakers. English का जो हर चीज़ का एक standard होता है, वो है English का standard. We basically follow the British and the American standard of English. I personally follow the British standard of English. If it's up to you what you follow, and you can listen to the native speakers. There are many online platforms available as well. Cambly करके एक online platform है, Cambly, और वहाँ पर आपको नेटिव स्पीकर्स से बात करने का मौका मिलता है. यू कैन चूज योर ओन मेंटर से बात कर सकते हैं. आप अपना टाइम चूज कर सकते हैं कि आप दिन में इस टाइम पर फ्री हैं और आप बात करना चाहते हैं. यू कैन टॉक एट दैट टाइम, और उनके साथ आप कन्वर्ट्स कर सकते हैं. बिकॉज मेनली हमारे सिनेरियो में what is the problem that they are not having a partner to speak. Mostly when children come to me and they say कि मैम हमारे पास कोई partner नहीं है बोलने के लिए, so what I ask them is that why don't you record your own voice and be partner yourself. You know, you can future reference के लिए आप मुझे भेज सकते हैं. You can have your friends also play a really great role in that. Talking about the online education system, and here yes.
Excuse me, Lubna ma'am, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, please tell us to what extent do you think in learning how to speak well in this particular?
I'm sorry, sir. Can you please repeat that? I didn't get the last part of the question.
Yes, definitely. To what extent do you think that learning grammar in academics plays a very important role in speaking this language?
Oh, it does. It will not be wise to say that it does not play an important role in learning any language, because you will sound like a foolish person if you do not speak the correct grammatical sentences. But especially when we're talking about speaking like natives, this is something which very advanced stage. You can skip a few things, especially if you want to learn English very quickly. If you want to learn and you don't have enough time to focus on the grammar part now, then obviously you can follow the native speakers and just focus on the listening skills. आप listening skills पर focus करके, truthfully ये सब इतना interlinked है, all the kinds of these modules are so interlinked कि अगर आप सिर्फ सुन भी रहे हो लैंग्वेज को, तो आपको आपका जो सबकॉन्शियस है वो अल्टीमेटली कैच कर लेगा आपके फ्लॉज को. तो आपका सबकॉन्शियस ग्रामर को कैच कर लेगा, आपको पता चलने लगेगा कि आप कहाँ पर मिस्टेक है. ऐसा होता है ना, जैसे आप कभी सेंटेंस पढ़ रहे हो, आपको पता नहीं चल रहा, लेकिन आपको ये पता चल रहा है कि कहीं तो मिस्टेक है. ये नहीं, मे बी यू आर नॉट कैचिंग द मिस्टेक कि कहाँ पर है, बट यू नो दैट इट्स नॉट करेक्ट इन समहाउ. इट स्पेशली हैपेंस इन द फॉर्म ऑफ when you are reading a spelling, किसी word की spelling आपके पास है, you can sense that something is wrong in that spelling. That is because your intuition of language is telling you, your environment that you have been in, और काफी जो आपको experience हो गया सुनने से या read करने से, उससे आपको पता चल रहा है ये कुछ ना तो गलत है. There is something wrong with it. तो grammar really plays a great role in it. Learning a language, grammar is तो the foundation of everything. कोई भी language पढ़ रहे हैं तो उसका grammar तो जरूरी है पढ़ना. But if you are concentrating solely on grammar, then I know many people who know a lot of grammar and particularly बहुत अच्छा grammar आता है उनको, लेकिन वो बोल नहीं पाते हैं. They lack the fluency, they lack the eloquency, they lack the free flow of thoughts when they are talking to somebody. Converse, जब मैं आपसे बात कर रही हूँ, आपने मुझे एक क्वेश्चन पूछा, उसका आंसर मुझे अभी impromptu देना है. I don't have that time कि मैं ग्रामर के जो रूल्स हैं उनको रिवाइंड करूँ अपने ब्रेन में और फिर आई गो देयर एंड आपको रिप्लाई करूँ. तो वो तो पता चल जाएगा कि दिस पर्सन डज नॉट नो इनफ अबाउट द लैंग्वेज. So here is where those people who are so doing really good in grammar lack in the terms of speaking. So it will all go hand in hand and together. What I suggest is give a little bit of time on each of these activities. For the young learners, I will talk about. For the intermediate learners, जो हमारे छोटे बच्चे हैं स्कूल के, उनके लिए तो definitely will start with the grammar and the phonetics. Phonetics अगर आपको आ जाता है तो you will, आपकी जो आगे की बहुत लंबी struggle है for the 5 or 10 years that most of the adults are facing now pronunciation के लिए, वो भी suffer कर रहे हैं. Phonics is the thing that you need to pay attention mostly on. Phonetics are correct sounds that you need to produce while you are speaking a certain word or a certain sentence, so that you are clearly audible to the person. और आपका जो आप close to the native speaker है, आपका standard हमें जो match करना है वो native speakers का है. हमें native speakers का ये standard match करना है. Yes, I am trying to give a little Hindi because हम सब यहाँ English ही जानने के लिए आए हैं. तो अगर मैं English में ही babble करती रहूँगी तो मुझे नहीं लगता कि ज़्यादा लोग खुश हो पाएंगे इस बात से. But again, I will say the same thing. दो तरीके हैं एक लैंग्वेज को लर्न करने के लिए. या तो मैं अपने बच्चों को ये बताऊं कि ये एक मेज है जिस पर ये लैपटॉप रखा है, या फिर मैं उनको शुरू से ये बताते चलूं कि ये टेबल है तो उनके दिमाग में टेबल ही रहेगा. दैट इज ऑल्सो अ ग्रेट थिंग टू लर्निंग लैंग्वेज. अगर आप बच्चों को कुछ चीजें जो हैं वो इंग्लिश की जो जरूरी चीजें हैं, थोड़ा बहुत एनवायरमेंट अपना घर में ही बना के रखें कि वी नीड टू स्पीक इंग्लिश फॉर अ सर्टन थिंग्स. Like television, I don't think you know what a television is. If anybody knows what television is called in Hindi, please mention in the chat box. I'll read for that sake. What is a telephone called in Hindi? We do not know because we are so into it. हम कितना ज़्यादा इसमें मैच घुस चुके हैं इंग्लिश की लैंग्वेज में कि we not generally we use the telephone and television for the normal sake. अगर आपको हिंदी का वर्ड पता है then definitely you are very good in Hindi. So this is the thing about learning the speaking language. I cannot suggest. I wish there was a magic spell that I could cast. जल्दी से एक दिन में कोई इंग्लिश सीख जाए, but there is no such thing. It's not possible. The only way here is the hard way and the highway. You have to take the highway. You have to take the highway, and there is no elevator for this thing. You have to take the stairs. So take a water bottle with you and take the stairs. Every step of that stairs, you have to sip some water. Be motivated, be encouraged, and follow some things that are simplest for you. कोशिश करें simplest चीजों के साथ start करने की. जैसे वही अभी जो previous speakers थे उन्होंने बताया कि अगर आपको पढ़ने में थोड़ी दिक्कत है तो if you start reading Othello or maybe reading King Lear, so that will not help you. What you should start reading is the news read करो, newspaper read करो, अपने parents के सामने read newspaper. ठीक है, न्यूज सुने, सबकी कोई ना कोई प्रेफरेंस तो होती ही है. अगर किसी को सॉन्ग्स पसंद है, किसी को न्यूज सुनना पसंद है, सम पीपल लाइक टू हियर स्टोरीज. तो कुछ ना कुछ जो भी आपकी प्रेफरेंस है उसको फॉलो करें. प्रेफरेंस इज रियली इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर लर्निंग एनीथिंग फॉर अ लॉन्ग. जो आपका एंजॉयमेंट का पार्ट है उसको चुने और उसको सीखना शुरू कीजिए. एनीथिंग, इट कैन बी चलचित्र. So is it chalchitra is maybe a television? Okay, so chalchitra is a television. That is a new word that we got to learn here. So yes, for learning any language, increase your you can increase your vocabulary by just listening to the native speakers. Podcast को सुने, YouTube sessions सुने, listen to some English songs and movies that is everybody say to you. ये सभी आपको बताते हैं. Choose your interest. अपना इंटरेस्ट पहचाने और उसको फॉलो करें. दैट विल बी इजियर फॉर यू टू जस्ट गो अलॉन्ग विद इट फॉर अ लॉन्गर टाइम, फॉर अ ईयर और सो दैट इट डज नॉट फील लाइक अ वर्क. ऐसा ना लगे कि आप कोई एक्टिव बहुत कोई टास्क कर रहे हैं जो टीडियस है एंड इट्स नॉट यूजफुल फॉर यू. डू समथिंग जो आपके लिए ईजी हो. If anybody has a really good question or you want to ask anything particular about your child or anything, my students or anybody else needs to ask something, please let me know. I'm looking at your comments right now.
Okay, thank
Yes,
you, ma'am. If the question comes, we will let you know surely. You are also
Thank
with
you so
us
much.
today. So the essence of madam's lecture was environment really plays a key role to learn this language or to learn any kind of language. And all skills of learning any language are interlinked actually. These all listening, speaking, reading, writing, all skills are interlinked. So for further discussion, I would like to call upon once again Mr. Abhinav Tyagi. He will soon join us now. Mr. Abhinav Tyagi.
Hi. Thank you. Again, I will just begin then. If there are no questions, I don't see any. Right. So there are a couple of things that I want to add to what the previous speaker just mentioned. And firstly, this advice about listening to native speakers, about pronunciation especially. Now, I see a lot of Indian students especially who start picking up English, and their first goal really when they begin talking is to talk like natives, is to basically speak with a British accent, speak with an American accent. And I think that really takes you away from the original goal of becoming a more proficient speaker. I heavily advise you to then still go and listen to stuff made by native speakers, but make sure that you put your emphasis on learning clarity over style. Therefore, if you see somebody like Shashi Tharoor, and you take an average 12-year-old from America, and you ask me who is more proficient at English, of course Shashi Tharoor. Shashi Tharoor can knock several of those children out of the park when it comes to his proficiency at English. But his accent isn't necessarily an American accent. His accent isn't necessarily a British accent. Our way of approaching English is modeled after the British standard, but that doesn't mean that you have to start speaking like Britishers do, or even sub-vocalize in a British accent. Because again, when you're thinking about language as a process, fundamentally, what is any language? A language is a tool that gives you the ability to communicate thoughts that you have in your head to another person, right? Now, will it matter if your pronunciation isn't exactly similar to a standard? No, as long as you're clear. What does clarity mean, right? In a lot of instances, knowing the right pronunciation for a particular word can change the meaning of the word itself, which is why the previous speaker told you to listen to how native speakers speak, because often those nuances are hidden within how they speak. It is important for us to catch on to those nuances, but at the same time, you don't have to emulate them. You don't have to sound exactly like a British person. You can sound like yourself, and that's completely fine, as long as you don't sacrifice clarity. Clarity is by far the most important skill when learning this language. It is not an accent. I'll tell you a funny story. If you see any old Hindi movies, you will hear them speak a version of Hindi that you've never seen anyone speak, right? Their evocation, the way they speak words, the way they pronounce, the way they place emphasis on particular words and sentences is not natural. Nobody speaks like that. And slowly over time in movies, people do actually sound like how normal people sound. Why is it that people sound so different in old movies? Well, it's because of this trend that actually started in Hollywood, which is where Hollywood basically they adopted this fake accent, which was supposed to be the gold standard for how English language is supposed to be spoken, and it was called the transcontinental English standard, right? So if you watch any old Hollywood movies, they speak English in a way that no native English speakers actually speak English. Everyone around the world has a very particular idiosyncratic way of speaking English. Even within a country, even within England, let's say, you will have the Cockney accent and you will have the London proper accent, which sound completely different. And sometimes those people can't understand each other. Now, if somebody from London tried to do, like a metropolitan person from London tried to do a Cockney accent, they would be very bad at it. But they're not trying to do that accent. Don't try to do an accent. Don't try to emulate anyone else. All you have to do is to focus on clarity. And for that, I will recommend a couple of things. When you're listening to English, starting out especially, go and listen to people who speak in the same dialect, in the same, at least, style of pronouncing words, the style of forming sentences that is closest to yourself. So watch NDTV. They have a wonderful cast of presenters who have really good clarity, because as a newscaster, that's the one important skill you need to have. So usually people who get into that industry have perfect command of how to say words, which is your primary goal if you're at this stage, right? Go and watch NDTV India. Go and watch all of these various other Indians who are great at English. Watch Shashi Tharoor speak for an hour. Watch Arundhati Roy speak for an hour. They have a really good command over the language. And that will give you something very, very valuable. After that, when you move to the standard, when you move to, say, a British standard, you start watching BBC, those nuances and intricacies of how you can be more clear will become more natural to you. Like the previous speaker said, it is important for you to build an environment where all your knowledge is constantly getting reinforced. It's not 1 day or 2 weeks of you practicing something. It is constantly reaffirming what you've learned. And for this, especially aimed for parents, I have a hack. How do you get your child to read something, right? Let's say they don't read storybooks, they don't want to engage with their textbooks. How do you get them to read? Let's say you bought a new microwave oven, right? With every new device that you buy, there is a manual. You ask them, how do I turn this microwave on? How do I fix the time for my watch? This is something I did all the time when growing up. I would carry shampoo bottles, literally everything that had any writing on it, I would read it. And that certainly helped me, because when you talk about a particular language, when you think about Hindi, are you always only talking about stories that you read or things that you hear in very intellectual setups? No. You also have to communicate sometimes how the bathroom over there looks, right? Or how to operate a particular piece of equipment. Therefore, you as parents can get your children to help you with things. When you don't understand something on your phone, right? Just ask your children, how does this work? Explain this to me. So I'll also say this in Hindi so that those who are not great at English at this point, and I know you will all be better at one point, can understand me slightly better. तो वो माँ बाप जो चाहते हैं कि उनके बच्चे कुछ इंग्लिश में पढ़े, लेकिन उनके बच्चे कुछ भी पढ़ने को राजी नहीं है, वो माँ बाप ये कर सकते हैं कि आपके घर पे जितने भी सामान है, जितनी भी चीजें इंग्लिश में है, आप उनसे पूछिए. आप पूछिए कि ये मुझे देखना है कि इस चिप्स के पैकेट में क्या क्या है, मुझे देखना है मुझे एलर्जी है या नहीं। आपको सच भी बोलने की जरूरत नहीं है, आप उनको बोलिए कि मुझे देखना है इसमें क्या है, आप मुझे बताओ, तो वो पढ़ के आपको बताएंगे और वो यूजफुल भी फील करेंगे। क्योंकि इफ दे, अगर वो कोई चीज इंग्लिश में पढ़ के आपको समझा रहे हैं या आपकी किसी चीज में किचन में हेल्प कर रहे हैं, कोई नया अप्लायंस सेटअप करने में हेल्प कर रहे हैं, तो उनको भी यूजफुल फील होगा। दे विल, अगर कोई शब्द उन्हें समझ में नहीं आया तो वो डिक्शनरी में चेक करके आपको बताएंगे। आपके फोन पे आपको कुछ मिला जो आप समझ नहीं पा रहे हैं, आप उनसे पूछिए, वो मतलब ढूंढ के आपको बताएंगे। क्योंकि बच्चों को आपको प्लीज करने का एक इंसेंटिव है कि मैं हेल्प करूंगा, मैं बताऊंगा आपको कैसे करना है, तो आप उसको यूज करिए। आप उनसे बहुत सारे क्वेश्चंस पूछिए। आप उनको आपको चाहे इंग्लिश ना अच्छे से समझ में आती हो, तब भी आप अपने बच्चों से ऐसे काम करा सकते हैं जिनसे वो इंग्लिश में एंगेज करें। क्योंकि लाइक द प्रीवियस स्पीकर मेंशन, हमारी सोसाइटी ऐसी सोसाइटी नहीं है जहां पे कॉन्स्टेंटली आपको ऐसे लोग मिलते रहेंगे जो बहुत अच्छी इंग्लिश बोलते भी हो और आपके बच्चे से कॉन्स्टेंटली बात भी करते रहे। ऐसे लोग हमें मिलना बहुत मुश्किल है। तो आपको उनके लिए एवेन्यूज बनाने पड़ेंगे आर्टिफिशियली, जहां पे उनको इंग्लिश के साथ एंगेज करना पड़ेगा। और अच्छी बात यह है कि अब पैंडेमिक के बाद हमारा सब कुछ ऑनलाइन है, सब कुछ, हमारी पूरी जिंदगी इंग्लिश में है। तो ये चीजें ढूंढना कोई ज्यादा मुश्किल नहीं है, ये चीजें ढूंढना बहुत आसान है। आप अपने घर पे चारों तरफ देखिए, बहुत बहुत सारी चीजें इंग्लिश में है। एक और बात, नाउ मूविंग ऑन टू समथिंग दैट आई वांट, that is intended for slightly older children, and this is for children who are gamers. I know a lot of you play PUBG, a lot of you play shooting games, a lot of you do a lot of things in English on the internet without particularly like engaging with, say, English literature, right? So let's talk about how you can in fact use these things that you like PUBG, like a game, and then become better at English through that. And you will find it incredibly interesting how even this is a way you can learn English. Like I said, everything can be a process where you can learn, where you can become more proficient in English. Let's say you're interested in PUBG, right? You read the terms of agreements before logging in. You become very interested in the game. You want to become better. You Google online what strategies people have to become better at PUBG. Those strategies are now in English, right? You try and learn how games are made. If you're interested in gaming, then see how games are designed. You will find all of that in English. Then you'll have to engage with English. At every point, there is an intellectual machinery behind any game or any piece of literature, any article of culture that you engage with. And that, in most circumstances, will be in English. Go and engage with that. Read reviews. Go and do only things that you like to do. You don't have to go and engage with the most complex academic literature out there. You will do that eventually, but you don't have to jump into that. Go find whatever you love. Find out more than what you already engage with, and chances are that what you will find will be in English, right? So for older listeners, things that you already like, there is a world out there that also likes, there are communities out there that also like the very same thing. And the only bridge between you and those communities is your ability to transform your thoughts into coherent sentences that can then be interpreted by the other person and engage with a productive dialogue. Before that dialogue can happen, you have to be at a point where your thoughts don't just remain thoughts in your head. You can articulate them, whether by writing, whether by reading, or by numerous other things, right? Now, another thing I want to focus on is this idea of what do you do when you read, right? The previous speaker spoke about how reading is also a process of vocalizing. Now, the technical term for this is sub-vocalizing. So when you read, you actually pronounce all of those words in your head. You will find that a lot of times you are very familiar with the word because you've read it 100 billion times. But when it comes to actually saying the word out loud, you are not being able to pronounce it correctly. You're not being able to use it in the right sense because your familiarity with the text is limited to, say, you coming across it in a piece of text, right? This idea of these skills not being divided, not being separate from each other, then you have to understand that if you just keep reading and keep sub-vocalizing, you will have no idea of how actually you're pronouncing them in your head until and unless you say that out loud, right? Or you use that in a sentence, in a piece of writing. There will be no way for you to set up a feedback mechanism where somebody else, like let's say your friend, makes fun of you for saying the word in the wrong way, right? That is feedback for you. That tells you that although you might have been reading it and pronouncing this particular word in your head, that the way you understood it till now was completely wrong. So that is an important thing to engage in. And for more advanced readers, when you come to a point where the speed of your reading is similar to the speed of your speaking, how fast you can speak is how fast you can read. You want to actually do the counterintuitive thing and stop vocalizing in your head. Stop sub-vocalizing in your head. People with really high reading speeds don't actually say the words out loud in their head. They go over it. Our mind has the ability to piece together information that is present out there in the world like puzzles and see the bigger picture without seeing all of the components that form the bigger picture. This is also referred to as a gestalt. So when you read, approach reading like a gestalt. This is only for advanced readers, by the way. This is not for you if you are just starting out engaging with stuff. This is for someone who can already speak well, who can already write well. They want to simply improve the speed at which they read. At that point, you stop sub-vocalizing. You go over the words without saying them out in your head, and then stopping, closing the book, and thinking to yourself what you could comprehend. So repeat to yourself what meaning you could find. A lot of the times when we read books, we stay for an hour reading the same page without really comprehending anything. Or we read 10 pages and then we sit down and we realize that nothing that you read in the past hour you actually managed to retain. And that happens because your attention is focused towards sub-vocalizing it in your head and not really comprehending. So a good exercise is to read a page, shut the book, and then think about what you just read, repeat the message. You don't have to go over everything that was there in that page, but just quickly go over what you read and see if you did actually comprehend everything that you came across, right? So that is something that if you keep practicing, over time your comprehension will become very, very good. So in a situation where you need to read quickly, where you need to quickly take down notes and then commit them to memory, you will be able to do that really quickly because you have trained that ability like a skill. Everything in language proficiency is a skill that you can master. Don't feel like you lost out just because you weren't born in Australia or Britain or America. Just because you're not a native speaker does not mean that you cannot get better at English. You can get much, much better at English than you currently are. Just like everything else, it is a skill. You have to basically replicate those same conditions where people learn languages inside of your home. And there are various hacks to do that. Now, I think we're a little short on time. So I will quickly move to some recommendations that all of you that are listening can take down now, or you can come back and listen, see this video, and then take all of these recommendations. I will quickly go over them. For podcasts, I have a couple of recommendations. You can listen to this podcast called 99% Invisible, which is a podcast about design. So it has really interesting things like why does the football look like the way it does? Right? Why are all those panels stitched together and made the way they are? Why do buildings have roofs, right, in a particular angle? Why do shoelaces have those plastic bits in the front? These are things that are small curiosities. They won't necessarily add anything more than like your vast knowledge of trivia over time, but they will make you very, very good at understanding and articulating ideas that you're not likely to find in just reading literature. A lot of people can be very good at communicating ideas on a particular subject while at the same time be very, very bad at communicating simple things. Like, I want to move my car seat back. I want to relax in my car seat. This tells you exactly what I want to do. I want to lean back in my chair, right? Now, that is something that reading Shakespeare won't tell you, because Shakespeare has no mention of car seats. So make this scope as big as possible so you know what to say in a variety of situations, not just in an academic setting, but in a variety of situations, which is important for effective communication. Then for podcasts, I have other recommendations like The Bugle, The Last Post. One very, very special recommendation to you is a podcast called The Allusionist. Now, The Allusionist is a podcast about linguistics, about the origin of words in the English language, why it's such an interesting language. And for someone just starting to develop an interest in bettering their English, it's an amazing resource. It's spelled TheAllusionist, The Allusionist. It is hosted by this person called Helen Zaltzman, and I think a lot of you will enjoy it, right? Now, moving on to book recommendations. For readers who are just beginning to read, I advise you to not go for long novels or anything. Just read graphic novels. Just read Tinkle if you have to, or just read Archie's. Just start with things that are more picture-based, more visual, because they'll be more interesting to you, and you will be able to follow the story without understanding every sentence written there, because you will have a frame of reference with the picture. So you will understand some action without actually having to understand all of the literature. And then in turn, when you see what is being written and you see the picture, you know that the picture is talking about a particular phenomena, right? The text is talking about a particular phenomena. So you will know what to say when you find yourselves in that situation. So reading graphic novels is a great idea. Then read abridged classics. Don't just start reading Charles Dickens. There are various publishers out there like Oxford, like Bloomsbury, like a bunch of publishers, Scholastic, who do abridged versions of classics. So you can read Dickens, you can read those classic authors that everyone recommends that you read, but you might find sometimes are a tad too difficult for beginners. Find the abridged version, where the entire Charles Dickens book is 15-20 pages. Now, that isn't telling you everything that Charles Dickens intended for you to learn, but it still tells you something. And from that something, in most of these books, there is a level, there is an age group that's written over there. Sometimes it's intended for ages 5 to 8, intended for ages 8 to 15. You don't have to necessarily strictly follow that age group thing. If you are 20 and you still can't read the grade 3-4, then start with the grade 3-4, because you will improve over time. So start reading abridged classic books. For intermediate listeners, now this is an interesting category, because you're not particularly advanced, so you can't read everything, but you will also not find reading Tinkle and storybooks and comic books fulfilling anymore. So for those readers, I have a specific genre that I can recommend to them. It is the young adult genre. So most young adult books, especially fiction, are that they use really simple language to communicate really complex ideas. And most of the times, the people in these young adult novels will be people just like you. So they will be in situations that you also find yourselves in, and using language that you can then ape and then use similarly in the same situations that you face. So read young adult fiction. Even if you're slightly older, read young adult fiction. There is no shame in reading young adult fiction. I am an avid reader of young adult fiction, even storybooks, even picture books. If you talk to my friends, most of them, the only birthday gifts I receive are Lemony Snicket picture books that have 1 or 2 sentences of text on each page, because I love them. I love how the art looks, etc. Don't be afraid of or ashamed of reading something that is intended for smaller audiences, because those intended audiences are not taking into account the cultural context in which you are vested. They're intended for 8 to 10-year-olds in, say, Britain, who already have an intuitive understanding of the language that you don't. So you can take up the books intended for smaller audiences. Take up the books intended for those blocky books, those wooden books that are intended for 2 to 5-year-olds, babies' first picture book or whatever, even those are completely fine because everyone has to start somewhere, right? Thirdly, for more advanced readers, right, this is a very fascinating category because starting out as an advanced reader, just read anything that you can find. Stop looking at what age is supposed to be. Your purpose to be is to improve your reading skills is to engage in something that experts call eclectic reading. Eclectic reading is when you read on a variety of subjects. So whatever you can find, just read it. If it's a shampoo label, read it. Whatever catches your fancy, read it. There are some book recommendations I have for you here. Read something like the Moby Dick. The Moby Dick is a very fascinating book because it talks about a kind of experience that you and I generally wouldn't have in our lives. So the breadth of that book and the depth of the emotional experience communicated in that book is really helpful. Read something like The Shock Doctrine, which is a non-fiction book, which is really great for people who want to understand how the world works. Since I've said how the world works, that is also a great book by Noam Chomsky titled How the World Works. It's using very simple language, and it communicates some really intricate political ideas that will help you not only at becoming better English speakers, but just becoming better generally. Then the final book recommendation I have for you is this book called Thinking Fast and Slow by Daniel Kahneman, which is a book that will teach you a lot about your own mind, the way you think, the way you process information. It will not only help you in becoming a better speaker of English, but just a better everything, a better mathematician, a better psychologist, whatever is your interest. It will make you better at it because it is one of those books that is in the top 100 books that you must read before you die kind of things. It is that great. The level of knowledge that book will give you will make you better at almost everything that you can do in life. And with that, I think I've taken too much time, so I'm going to sign off. But if you do have any questions, leave it in the comment, and maybe I can come back even after the session is over and then individually answer whatever I can. So thank you so much for listening to me for so long and bearing with me. And I will just pass this on now.
Thank you very much, Mr. Abhinay. It was really very interacting and meaningful. You have categorized, you have targeted all the audience, all kinds of audience, all kinds of readers even. You have told the names of books also, what kind of learners and readers should adopt which kind of book to read. You mentioned the names of the writers also, that was quite nice. Now, last but not the least, I would like to call upon on the mic Mrs. Anju Mittal, who serves as TGT English at Scottish International School, who has done Masters in English, Literature and B.Ed. So, Ms. Anju Mittal.
Second thing, I'm going to talk about writing skills. And as my colleagues and expertise told, that reading, writing, listening, speaking, all are interrelated. And writing is one of the most important skill, or you can say a part of communication. And writing speaks a lot about writer's personality also. But as we talk about a student, if he has to master a mature style of handwriting, so that begins with a primary level and it continues throughout the school days. Next thing, as we know that English is not our native language, it's a second language. So we need to put more efforts to improve or develop our skills. And for that, step by step, these things occur. Like in initial stages, students are taught to make simple sentence, then a couple of sentences, then writing in a paragraph. So in this way, students learn. And most important thing for a student means that is lacking of word power, or you may say vocabulary. So to learn vocabulary, there are some interesting and easy games which we can play with them as a teacher, or even at home. The parents who say that, ma'am, we are not so much educated, or we don't know this language so much. So they are very simple sort of games through which we can make them learn or enhance with the word power. We can begin with the very simple words. Like first, I would like to tell about word chain. Like in Hindi, we play Antakshari. So similarly, you can take a word and then you can ask the student to tell the another word, means according to the last alphabet of that particular word. So in this way, it becomes a chain. So it becomes a word chain and students learn in a very nice way. Even I would like to request parents that they can engage themselves or they can participate with their children, so that in this way they will also gain much knowledge and students and their children will also take interest. Then second is associate words. Associate words means, suppose you can give any particular word relating to a situation. Suppose class is there, and you can ask them to write associated words. Like next is teacher, then chalk, then board, then study, academic things. Means according to the standard, they can tell the words. One more game is word finder. It is very common that you give a word of many letters, and then from that word, that particular word, they can find out and try to make some other words from that base word. Like you can say there is information. So from information, you can make nation, etc. One more thing is simple and compound games. A simple word you can give, and from that word, they can make a single next word or the compound words. Suppose word is auto, so they can make auto suggestion, automatic, and auto rickshaw, like this. So these are the interesting games through which students enjoy also and learn also, especially in primary level, they learn a lot. Now we talk about types of writing. Okay, as we know how to write sentences, then how to write a paragraph, then there are types of writing. So for the beginners, they can start from the free writing. Free writing in the sense they can write sentences and then they can connect the ideas like a mind map. And second thing is independent writing. In independent writing, they can choose the topic of their own. Means you need not tell of their own choice, so they enjoy also. One more thing, even teacher can ask, because students love to express themselves, which is not imposed on them. Like tell about yourself, or tell about your friend, or describe your friend's hobby or your hobby, like this. Next is process writing. Again, I would like to request parents that in this scenario at present, because students are at home and parents are playing a role of teacher also, so they can ask their children that how these things occur or how this process is there, like making a cup of tea, then how to wash clothes. So they can try to make sentences. Next is narrative writing. Narrative writing, it may be on any incident or simply a story. Then there is expository also. Expository means to expose. It is based on research work or knowledge. Means whatever you have, but whatever you know. So you can write on that, and it may be in a descriptive way also. Then next is persuasive. Persuasive writing is like convincing. Convincing means to convince your readers. It may be about any particular thing. Suppose racist topic is there and they have to give their own ideas. So in this way, students can learn different styles of writing. Now the most important thing which I would like to highlight, that is creative writing, and that is in the form of diary entry. It is very important because diary entry is not only simply writing your thoughts, but it works like means pouring down your emotions, and then mentally you get relaxed also when you write about something, your feelings. As we know that in today's scenario, that in pandemic, everyone is working. There is mental stress at home also, in working places also. So if you make a habit, or if you ask your children or ask your students to make a habit of diary writing, so it will be a very great help. Next is in advanced level, when you start writing, then you have to focus on few points. Like you have to work on grammar, and you have to check your spellings also, and your writing style. Then obviously, as my colleagues and my expertise told, that it also plays an important role, your reading factor. So although listening or watching TV, if you start watching, or parents, like parents cannot ask their children to stop watching anything, so they can means a type of suggestion they can give, that if the children watch cartoons or the movies or any programs in English, then it will also enhance their writing skill. Next but not least, I would like to say, I would like to quote the words of George Bernard Shaw, that a life spent making mistakes is not only more honorable, but more useful than a life spent doing nothing. It means if you keep on trying, keep on writing, then it will have a good effort, and you will means improve day by day. And we all are learners, so keep trying to reach your goal without hesitation, because we all are learners in the school of life itself. If anyone wants to ask any question regarding this writing skill, so you can please ask.
Okay, thank you very much, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Dear audience, our very intelligent viewers, every field has its own technicalities, and of the all different skills of improving your English language today, our expert teachers have given you techniques on how to improve on it. So I hope and believe that today's session was quite fruitful, and you would have understood a lot, you would have gained a lot. On behalf of entire Scottish family, I, Tanveer Ahmed, in the capacity of head of the English department, extend my warm greetings to everyone. Thank you very much for being with us for so long. Thank you very much.